Yo, it's Go, and welcome to the video. I've been testing a lot of different things in the Season of Mastery beta. Potential rotations, like what flask I think I'm going to be using, Distilled Wisdom or Supreme Power, what consumes I'm going to be bringing to raid, also pre-raid BiS potentially. I thought I would share the results. There's going to be some timestamps in the description if you want to skip around to whatever part you're most interested in. So just a heads up, while I was editing, I realized I had recorded some of the video in the wrong setting. You can still see everything that I'm talking about. It's just not in the full screen, so there's some stuff around the edges like my buffs you aren't able to see and stuff like that. I apologize, I just don't have time to go back. But other than that, all of the information is still there, but again, I do apologize. Starting off with the consumes, I'm gonna be bringing fire protection potions, greater ones, Nightfin soup for some mana regen, the Juju embers for some fire resist, greater shadow protection potion, I'll get back to that, flask of supreme power, greater arcane elixir, Rumsey Rum black label, major mana pots of course, and dark runes or demonic runes. So the shadow protection potion will be for the damage from the runes. It absorbs the damage, so yeah, we're looking at maybe 3,500, close to 4k health once we're all the way buffed. So it's not that much, and these can do 1,000 damage, so like a third of your life. So if you already have some damage off of you and this is up, then it might be kind of scary to use it, and you could just be sitting there out of mana and about to die. It could absorb, the whole fight's worth of runes, or at least the first two. So not really necessary, but I think it'll be worth it to bring some shadow protection potions, at least in phase 1 when our health is at the lowest. Again, with the health, having the Rumsey Rum black label at 15 extra stamina will help out. I didn't get to test too many bosses on the beta. Her firebomb would kill me, I think, if I didn't get a heal, so I was going down to like 200 HP and then finally getting a heal right before the last tick of damage was coming off. So having all the little extra stamina you can have is going to help out. So the rotations I was trying was just straight up max strength Starfire, Fairy Fire, Moonfire. The second rotation was just using rank 1 Starfire, Fairy Fire, Moonfire, and the last rotation is the one I'll probably be messing with the most and try to tweak, is you max rank Starfire only if your Moonfire crits, then your rank 1 if it's just a normal hit, and then Fairy Fire, Moonfire. Why am I not putting up Insect Swarm? Because you cannot cast Insect Swarm while you're in Moonkin form, and it's not worth the extra global to go back into Moonkin form or the mana. So yes, there will be some fights where Insect Swarm is viable, like the first boss in Molten Core, for example. We're going to be decursing a lot, so since we're out of form, we'll just be decursing, keeping up Fairy Fire, Moonfiring, and Insect Swarming. Might be able to cast a Starfire here or there, and it'll probably just be rank 1 to save mana for the decurses. So to give you a little bit of an example of how the rotation I'm going to use is going to look, that third rotation, I have rank 1 Starfire over here on 2 and rank 6 over here on R. Usually it's switched, but since it doesn't happen that often that we'll be using rank 6, I have it over here on R just while I'm testing. So we Fairy Fire, max rank, Moonfire, resist. Alright, so it didn't crit, so we're going to use the rank 1. We'll get 4 Starfires off before putting Moonfire back up. Didn't crit, back to rank 1. Yeah, and we gotta use our runes while we're going, as soon as we're out of mana. And that last Starfire could crit too. So if either the fourth Starfire or the Moonfire crits, then that's when I'll be using the max rank. So you can see it's not happening very often. So it's really just a lot of rank 1s. A lot of resists. We have 5% hit on this gear. Still no crit. I think I have like 10% chance to crit with my gear and in Moonkin form. And then from the talents, it should have another 10%. Alright, so we finally crit, so we're max rank this one, and then back to rank 1. But yeah, it should have a 1 in 5 chance to crit. Doesn't seem like it's critting that much. You can see we went for, I don't know, a minute and a half, and Mana's looking good. Rune's still coming off a cooldown. Innervate's still up. The fight time difference and the DPS difference between having the Flask of Supreme Power and Flask of Distilled Wisdom using the 3 different rotations. There wasn't much time difference, an extra 22 seconds, and it was at like a 40 DPS loss. So minus 40 DPS, but an extra 22 seconds. Going down to rank 1, we got up to just over 4 minutes and still had 225 DPS, not that high, but we go over to using the Flask of Distilled Wisdom instead. We gain about 2 minutes, but we lose about 50 DPS. Same with the third rotation. We lose a little bit of that time, but we gain a little bit of that DPS for both of them. So still about 4 minutes and still about 6 minutes, an extra 2 minutes using the Distilled Wisdom Flask, seeing that DPS even below 300 hertz, but below 200. Doesn't seem like we'll be doing much with the Flask of Distilled Wisdom. So hopefully the fight times are about 3.5 minutes. They might start off longer. Even if they're 5 minutes, I think I would still rather have the Supreme Power Flask. Having that extra 2k mana is nice, but it's just such a damage decrease to have the extra mana. And we're not fully buffed up. We've only got the Flask, Nightfin Soup, the Arcane Elixir, and Mark of the Wild. While I was testing, there's no Arcane Intellect, no Divine Spirit, or Blessing of Wisdom, or Mana Spring Totem. Probably won't be getting a Mana Spring Totem. I will be on Horde, so I won't have the Blessing of Wisdom either. No Kings if you're Alliance. But just missing these 2 buffs that both factions get would help out a lot. And then also this gear is not fully enchanted, so we'll be having extra spell power, stamina, and intellect from the forge stats to chest, intellect on bracers and stuff. So I say these numbers would be like the bare minimum. They should be higher once you're raid buffed and enchanted all the way. Alright, so the last thing I wanted to go over, so I tried to put together a pre-raid / PvP best in slot set for myself. You might have a couple different opinions on a couple of pieces I chose, but I'll go over each piece and see what is available. Alright, so starting off with the helm, there wasn't much of a choice between Spellweaver's Turban. So it has 1% hit, 36 spell power, 9 int. Pretty solid. The other pieces to compare it to are just straight up arcane damage. The necklace, same thing. Nothing really to compare it to. 1% hit and 9 spell power. A little bit of int as well. So for the shoulders, there's that piece that's a random BOP, but it's off of the abyssals, if that's what they're called. It's been so long, I don't remember. Baron Chasm. So if he's in the game, then we'll be looking out for. There's a leather version as well. I don't know why it's showed all the way down here, but having the extra armor would be nice. But either one, 1% chance to hit, 15 spell damage, 13 int. But since I'm not sure of those, I have Burial Shaw up here, 20 spell power, 16 int. And back to the helm for a second, you could have 8 intellect on these if you prefer. I just prefer the damage. So for the helm and the legs, I will have spell power enchant for those. We've got 5 resist to all on our shoulders, 7 fire resist on our cape, which there's not really an upgrade for the best in slot, so farming this might end up being worth it. Although I tried to farm it in classic, I don't know how many times I ran Strath Live and never saw it drop. So hopefully my luck changes and I can get this after 5-10 runs. But it is straight up arcane damage, which I don't like. I like to have the raw spell power, but having that 4 mana per 5 is a little bit nice. So it looks like the Crystalline Threaded Cape might be in the game, which is a really nice secondary piece. And I do plan on farming a lot of Silithus and summoning the Dukes and stuff. So getting the signets from the Dukes and then turning them in, it's a repeatable quest. You'll get a sack of spoils, which is where this cloak can come out of. Yeah, so 1 less arcane power, but 20 raw spell power instead of arcane, and 4 intellect instead of the 4 mana per 5. If this is in the game, I will have this until I finally get the luck of having this cape drop, whichever one comes first. So for the robe, this one should not be in the game. It's from one of the AQ quests, I believe. So Robe of Everlasting Night, 27 spell power, a lot of int, a little bit of spirit. Now we would lose 4 spell power, but we would gain some int and spirit if we chose the chestplate of tranquility, but I just love the spell power too much to have the little extra mana pool. And 4 stats chest on here for me. So bracers is going to be one that it's going to take a while to get. There's a couple of options that also have 21 arcane damage on them, but the ones from Lord Incendius have fire resist, and I know I can solo Lord Incendius. I went into the beta and went into BRD, stealthed my way there, killed him. I think I used 1 health pot. Wasn't too tough, for not doing that farm in so long, to just be able to go back in there and kill him. And I used to do it as a mage, so having Insect Swarm, Moonfire, and just kiting Incendius around his little room. So hopefully it doesn't take too long to farm these. But I might go to Dire Maul first and farm the Sublime Wrist Guards. This should be easier to get. Then once I have these, I can start farming the other pair. So we get 7 intellect on the bracers. Now the weapon was a tough choice. There's a main hand offhand option as well. I went with the staff just because it had slightly more spell power. I mean, with the main hand offhand, we could get, I think it was like 48 or 49 spell power, but we wouldn't have that 1% chance to hit. So I went with Lord Valifix's staff. Might be a little difficult to farm off the beginning because it's the summonable boss from the quest line, the dungeon tier set. So for main hand to offhand, we would want the Witchblade for main hand, and then the offhand to have all that extra spell power. You'd have to farm for the Drakestone of Arcane Wrath in Sunken Temple, or you could get the Scepter from the summonable boss in Strathlive. It's got hit, crit, and spell power on it. So either of those options really good, but they're both might be a little bit difficult to get because those bosses were kind of tough when they came out. But 30 spell power on our weapon. Gloves, another farm that's going to take forever, and only arcane damage on these. It'll be a lot easier to get the Hands of Power, so I will probably get Hands of Power first, and then continue farming Lubers for the straight up 31 arcane damage gloves. No intellect on these, so Hands of Power does have 6 int, 6 spirit. Not really many other options besides Banthok Sash for the belt. So 1 hit, 12 spell power, some intellect. So for their legs and Lubers, we have Sky Shroud leggings, 34 spell power, some int on there. A couple other options. The Abyssal Cloth Pants of Sorcery, only 18 spell power, but 15 int, and that crit chance. So if you're looking for pieces with crit, here's one of them for you. You just have to trade out all that extra spell power though. Then if you're looking for intellect, then the Luminary Kilt to 20 int, 8 spirit, only 22 spell power. And boots, not really any other options of the boots besides the water spout boots. How many times can I say boots in 5 seconds? We've got 25 spell power, 6 int, 6 spirit. I threw minor speed on there. There's a stamina option. You could get 7 stamina on there if you wanted. So for the rings, we have a nice ring with some hit spell power on it. No intellect though, but I did choose the Rune Band of Wizardry. And then Maiden Circle, if you get lucky and it drops for you, or if you have gold to buy it, it's going to be expensive. All the casters are going to be wanting this ring. It's only 2 spirit difference between the Songstone of Ironforge, so I just picked the Songstone. If you wanted some crit, you got 1% here. And the trinkets, we've got the Reed, of course. I think a lot of people are going to be going for the Eye of the Beast for 2% crit. Really good choice, but with how much RNG there is in Classic and in TBC that I've come across, going for the crit again. Like I used to have this back in the day too. I'm going to change it up. So I found the Draconic Infused Emblem. It's kind of like a mini toe-up, so it increases your spell damage by up to 100 and your healing by up to 190 for 15 seconds. And it's on a minute and 15 second cooldown. So you pop it. It lasts 15 seconds, wait another minute, and you'll have this back up. So I love having burst. I love having on-use trinkets. So I'm going to choose this trinket for phase 1 until I get a toe-up. And then for the idol, we will have our Moonfire idol. So overall, we've got 302 spell power, but 375 arcane damage. Only 5% hit. We're getting a ton of resists. In Moon Conform with this, only 8% crit chance. You could get that up to 10% if you wanted the other trinket, or 12, 13, 14% if you chose the pieces that have crit on there. Just under 4k mana without any buffs. It's moving over to the best in slot. Yeah, it's kind of tough on some of these pieces because first thing right off the bat, we're down to only 2% hit, and we gained 4 crit, and we're up to 510 arcane damage. Our mana stays about the same, so we can swap out the Pearl Necklace for the choker to add a lot of spell power. Robe of Volatile Power is a tough choice. So I did lose a little bit of spell power by choosing the robe and getting that extra 2% crit, which I hated to do. A little bit more spirit and intellect on there than the robe of Everlasting Night, but I won't be in too much of a rush to get this or any of the molten core pieces really, other than toe up. If I had to choose one piece from molten core to get, I would choose toe up for sure. The bracers, I got some PvP bracers exalted with the war song, so it's gonna take a while to get these, but pretty nice bracers. Same with the weapons. I think I might be trying to grind out that rank 14 to get the weapon. It's just so insane compared to the other weapon options available. Then I put the Tome of Arcane Domination on here just because we don't need so much hit on trash, so I might be swapping some pieces on trash than bosses. So I could have an extra, like just keep the offhand with the hit on it and put this on for a boss and then swap out for the arcane offhand for trash. Mana Igniting Cord, we lose that hit, but we're gaining a crit and 13 spell power and some intellect. So the Flare Core leggings I really like, even though they're BOE, the mats to craft them are from raid, so I put them in the raid best in slot. But having the fire resistance, the stamina, a lot of survivability on these, and 43 spell power, you just can't get close on any of the other legs. So I'll be losing the intellect and stuff. The ring of spell power, a lot of spell power upgraded, but we're losing that int and spirit again off of our ring. So the change from pre-BiS to best in slots really weird because we're losing the hit that we had in exchange for the spell power and some crit. But these are my two sets. If I missed over a piece that's available and I just didn't see it, let me know. I do plan on getting herbalism and alchemy as my two professions. Engineering is a tough second instead of alchemy, but I would just rather be able to craft my own consumes. So I'll be testing the Black Lotus drop change that they're going to be coming up with in the next couple days. I'll let you guys know what I find on that, but until then, I'll see you later.